Hello there. Who's there today? Is that Aubrey? Is that Claudie? Or is it Charlie or Eli? Well, let's carry on. In the light of the setting sun, Ishmael and his good wife looked dusty and tired after their long day's journey. They had been cheerful travelling companions, and Nephi thought that never before in all his life had he spent such a pleasant day as he had with Ishmael, his wife, and his 3 daughters. Ishmael turned and looked back every few minutes, all day long. Laman, Lemuel, and the 2 daughters of Ishmael, the 2 sons of Ishmael, and their families had travelled together, refusing to travel with Nephi and the others. They kept lagging so far behind that Ishmael was constantly worried about losing them. "We have travelled a long way today," said Ishmael. "Don't you think it would be wise to pitch our tents here for the night?" "That suits me," said Sam. "And me," said Nephi. Nephi and Sam began preparations for pitching the tents, while Ishmael stood shading his eyes with his hand and looking back toward Jerusalem. After a while he called to one of his daughters, who hurried to his side. She was a beautiful young girl with lovely dark eyes and soft brown hair. "Ooh, I bet she's like Claudie." Nephi had been impressed with this beauty of this young girl. "Did you want me, father?" she said. "Yes, my child, your eyes are younger than mine. Can you see anything of the others?" After searching the wilderness with her eyes, she said, "Yes, I see them. They are far behind, but still coming slowly." "Are they all there?" "Yes." "Why do you ask?" "Because I'm afraid they would turn back and go back to Jerusalem." Nephi watched Ishmael go, and with his going, his heart grew troubled. All day long he had been so happy. Not a single worry had crossed his mind. But now he remembered the worried look on Sam's and Ishmael's faces as they watched the others continually lag behind. Laman and Lemuel were probably rebellious again. Aren't they naughty, them two? He hoped and prayed that they would start an ugly quarrel before Ishmael and his family. Then the tents were pitched, and the preparation had been made for their evening meal. Ishmael returned with Laman to his party. One look at Laman and Lemuel told Nephi that his worst fears were true. "I have something to say to you, Nephi," said Laman sharply. "Come eat your supper first," said a gentle but firm voice. It was the voice of Ishmael's wife suggesting food at just the right time. Laman was hungry, and he always enjoyed eating, and even if he hadn't been interested in food at this moment, he couldn't have resisted the patient, sad-eyed woman who confronted him. Her hand was light upon his arm, but in spite of her gentle touch, she guided with him a determination towards the food. "Very well, I will eat until we are through eating, but I promise you I'll never forget to say the things I have to say. Perhaps you will feel differently after you've eaten." But Laman was as good as his word, and as soon as they had finished eating, he says, "We have decided to go back to Jerusalem to live." "But surely you don't mean to disobey God's commandments," said Nephi. "How do we know they are God's commandments? Maybe they are nothing more than a bad dream. Anyway, we have decided that in spite of everything, we are going to go back to Jerusalem to live." Oh, aren't they naughty? Laman's words shocked and grieved Nephi. "You are an elder brother," said Nephi sadly, "but why are you so hard-hearted and so blind in your mind that you need me, your younger brother, to set you an example?" "Listen to the fool talk," said Lemuel. "Why will you not listen to the words of the Lord? Have you not forgotten that you have seen an angel, and that we were delivered out of the hands of Laban and obtained the records? Have you forgotten that the Lord is able to do all things according to his will? For the children of men it is to be that they exercise faith in him. Let us be faithful to him. If we are faithful, we shall reach the promised land and know all things the Lord has promised concerning the destruction of Jerusalem that must be fulfilled." After Nephi had finished speaking, Laman and Lemuel went aside and talked in a low tone. Then they confronted Nephi and said fiercely, "We have decided to do away with you. We have run our lives long enough. You keep running our lives." Nephi faced his angry brothers with rare courage, which sprang from the faith in God. He tried to reason with them, but they only grew more angry until at last they bound him with strong cords. Looking up, he discovered the tearful eyes of Ishmael's youngest daughter upon him, and he knew in his heart that he would never be lonely again as long as she was near him. "Now," said Lemuel hatefully, "try and free yourself if you can." "What are you going to do with me?" asked Nephi. "We will leave you here and let the wild beasts devour you," said Laman. Humbly, Nephi began to pray to the Lord, saying, "O Lord God, according to the strength of my faith in thee, look down and have mercy upon me and free me from the cords that bind me." When Nephi finished his prayers, suddenly the cords fell away from his hands and feet. Sam and Ishmael and his family marveled at the miracle they had seen, but Laman and Lemuel were unimpressed by it and were about to lay hands upon Nephi again. But just then Ishmael's wife stepped between them and Nephi, and she said, "Don't do this thing. Think of your mother. If Sam is the only one who returns to her, she will surely die of a broken heart." When Ishmael's wife was through speaking, one of her daughters and a son came forward and pled Nephi's cause. Finally, Laman and Lemuel listened to their pleading, and their anger passed away. There was nothing left in its place but regret for their cruel treatment of their brother. Their remorse was so great that they fell upon their knees before Nephi and begged his forgiveness. He forgave them freely and asked them to pray to the Lord for forgiveness. After they had prayed, they set out upon their journey. After 3 days of travel, they came to Lehi's tent. There was great rejoicing, and they thanked God and offered a sacrifice and burnt offerings. That's it.